We're going to talk about how to rank #1 on Google. So let's get started, and let's go with the scenario that you have a friend named Sam and he has a website where he sells shoes. But Sam doesn't understand why his website's not ranking #1 on Google. And so typically, to rank #1 on Google, there are some factors involved. And those are factors that are going to help Sam get his website rank #1 on Google so he can sell his shoes, get traffic, and convert that traffic to conversions. So there are factors involved. And so what are those factors? Well, it always starts with keyword research. So in order to rank for a website where you sell shoes or you sell products, other products like clothing or food, or you're an automobile website, you're a mechanic, it doesn't matter whether you're selling to customers or selling to other businesses. You have to start with the keyword research. And so we're going to go into really explicit detail on how to conduct a proper keyword research. And then the second factor involved is high quality content. So in order to rank high on Google search, you need to have high quality content. So we're going to go over what's involved with creating high quality content. Then we're going to take that content, we're going to optimize it using on-page elements and website level factors. So we're going to take into account what's involved with your website and what's involved with specific pages on your website in order to rank #1 on Google. Then we're going to get into the off-site engagement. So when it comes to ranking on Google, you need to optimize your website and you need to do some elements off your website. You need to be engaging off your website, meaning on other websites. And so we're going to talk about what's involved with off-site engagement. So SEO being a major channel for most companies and websites where the opportunity to drive a lot of traffic is there. But you have to earn that reward. The reward is a lot of traffic, but you have to earn the reward, and there's a lot of work involved. And so ideally what we want to do is follow what we call the 80-20 rule when it comes to search engine optimization and ranking on Google. And what do we mean by the 80-20 rule? Well, 80-20 means we're investing 20% of our effort and 80% of the results are obtained. So we want to invest 20 and get back 80. That's basically what we mean by 80-20. So for example, if 20% of our targeted keywords bring in 80% of the traffic, then that's following the 80-20 rule. Or 20% of our landing pages drive 80% of the overall traffic, that's following the 80-20 rule. Or 20% of our backlinks pass 80% of our link juice, that's the 80-20 rule. Meaning these targeted keywords, these targeted landing pages, these trying to target backlinks using off-site engagement. We want to put in 20% of our effort on those keywords, landing pages, and backlinks in return for 80% of the results. So without further ado, let's get started with the keyword research. Let's talk about that keyword research for a website with shoes. And it doesn't really matter what particular product you have. If you need to rank #1 on Google, it all starts with the keywords as I mentioned before. And so in this example, if you have a website where you sell shoes for kids, you're going to want to be found for certain keywords. So the obvious keyword here would be shoes for kids. Well, every keyword that you target has search volume associated with it. So that means when we talk about search volume, we're talking about how many people on average type in that keyword or related keyword on Google.com or Google search. And there's always an average number of searches associated with every keyword, and we call that search volume. How much search volume? So obviously if we're going to target a keyword, we want to have as much volume as possible. However, there's always going to be competition for those keywords, meaning there's always going to be other websites who want to rank #1 on Google for the same keywords. And we call that competition or difficulty. So for every keyword, you're going to have volume and you're going to have competition or difficulty. And the difficulty ranges as well, depending on the tool you use. And we'll get into that in a minute. But Search volume is how much, on average, people are typing in that keyword or close variants of that keyword. And the difficulty is measured in terms of how many other websites are trying to rank for the same keyword. And so ideally, when it comes to keyword research, we want to find that nice balance. We want high volume and we want low competition. But at the same time, we want to focus on keywords that are highly relevant to our business. So if we're selling shoes for kids and shoes for kids is highly relevant, has high volume and low competition, then that's a keyword we want to target. So we always want to focus in on those three areas. So there's always a trade-off with keywords. So shoes for kids might have high volume, but also might have high competition or difficulty. If we look for another keyword that's just as relevant, for example, shoes for children, it may still have high search volume, but the competition or the difficulty may be lower. And if that's the case, then that may be a better keyword for us to target. Instead of something highly competitive like shoes for kids, we can focus on another relevant keyword like shoes for children with just as much volume and lower competition. And the reason why we want lower competition is because we want to be able to rank for that keyword. So the higher the competition, the harder it is for us to rank number one on Google for that keyword. And so the whole idea behind keyword research is analyzing and choosing the best keywords. So we want to identify a list of keywords that are always relevant. We want to choose the keyword that your competitors are ranking for. And we want to use third-party tools to choose keywords to identify which keywords have low competition and what keywords have high search volume. So one thing to take into consideration when you're doing keyword research is that the longer the keyword phrase, or in other words, long tail keywords or keywords with 3 keywords in the phrase or more, you're going to always have less competition. But there's always a trade-off. With long tail keywords, meaning the longer the keyword phrase, there's going to be less volume, but the trade-off is less competition. And so what we want to do is we want to brainstorm some ideas and find those relevant keywords. So let's look at an example here. So if we go to Google Ads, so Google Ads has a tool called Keyword Planner. And let's just say I have a website where I'm selling dried figs. And if I'm selling dried figs, I want people to buy these dried figs. However, in order to attract them, I want to be able to show them that, hey, we have a bunch of recipes. And if I show you a bunch of recipes where you can use dried figs, maybe you'll buy these dried figs to use in these recipes. And so we're going to look for keywords related to bread recipes, because if we can optimize for our recipes page for bread, then that will attract an audience who wants to make bread and use dried figs with those bread recipes. So that's the example I'm going to give here. And so if I look at the keyword planner in Google Ads, if I just type in bread recipes, what Google is going to do is they're going to give me an average monthly search volume. So I can see the average monthly search volume here is 60,500. And so in order to do keyword research, what I would recommend is keep a spreadsheet. And so the idea behind the spreadsheet is to document the volume and the competition you're getting for certain keywords. So if I go into a spreadsheet, here, my theme of keywords is bread recipes. My keyword is bread recipes, and my volume, therefore, is going to be 60,500. However, if I go back into Google's keyword planner, Google's telling me the competition is low. So that's great. I want high volume, I want low competition. But how low is low? So we want to be careful. So if we're going to put in numbers into a spreadsheet, we want to figure out what that competition really is for the keyword bread recipes. So if I go to Google and just type in bread recipes, I'm going to be able to see 771 billion results for the keyword bread recipes. Now, is 771 billion our real competition? Maybe, maybe not. What we want to do is put in a syntax, and we want to put in the syntax all in title and then colon, space, and then our keyword. And the reason why we do that in search is because we want to be able to identify the true competitive number, or the true number of websites who are trying to rank for bread recipes. And if we put in the syntax all in title, colon, and then our keyword bread recipes, we'll be able to see that there are 998,000 results. That's a lot lower than 771 billion. So that means that 998,000 sites or listings have the keyword bread recipes in the title tag. And the title tag is what shows up in the search engine results. And so if I look down and scroll down here, I can see bread recipes are in every one of these title tags. So title tag is an important element to rank number one on Google, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But if we understand that there are 998,000 results with bread recipes in the title tag, then this tells us that those are the websites who are trying to rank number one on Google for that keyword, and therefore those are the websites we need to jump over in order for our website to rank number one on Google. And so therefore I'm going to put in 998,000 in my spreadsheet as the competitive number. And so now I could see for the keyword bread recipes, I have 60,500, and if my competition is 998,000, then my KEI, or Keyword Effectiveness Index, or in other words, the ratio of volume to competition, is 6%. So that's nothing more than volume divided by competition. So that tells me that my KEI, or my ratio between volume and competition, is 6%. So remember, we want more volume than we want competition. So anytime you do a keyword research, you're going to find a number of different relevant keywords. So if I go back into Google's keyword planner, if I typed in bread recipes, you could see that Google is going to give me a number of different keywords related to bread recipes. Let's just say I have another keyword that I want to think about optimizing for, being ranked on Google for, and that's banana bread recipe. Very similar keyword as bread recipes, except it's a little longer tail. Now, if I type in banana bread recipe in Google's keyword planner, now I can see the average monthly search volume has actually gone up. It's 368,000. I can also see the competition is low. So those are good signs. So now I can see 368,000. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my spreadsheet. Now I'm going to go into Google. I'm going to put in my syntax all in title. I'm going to put in banana bread recipe. I'm going to hit enter. And now I can see I have 233,000 results with the keyword banana bread recipe in the title tag. So if I look at the title tags, I can see banana bread recipe, banana bread recipe, banana bread recipe on all the listings in the Google search results. So that tells me I have 233,000 results that I have to jump over in order to rank number one on Google. So I'm going to put 233,000 in my spreadsheet. Now I can see my KEI, or my volume to competition ratio, is 158%. And so to me, that's a lot better number to work with, or in other words, that's a lot better keyword because it's just as relevant and it has a higher ratio of volume to competition. So therefore, banana bread recipe is going to be a better keyword to optimize for in order to rank number one on Google.